They say revenge changes you. Maybe they're right. But in my case, I didn't lift a finger. I just watched as her perfect little empire crumbled under the weight of her own arrogance. I didn't warn her. I didn't save her. And I don't regret it. Not one bit. I'll never forget that text. It was a regular Thursday afternoon. I was halfway through a spreadsheet at my desk job when my phone buzzed. Chloe's name lit up the screen. Just emptied our account. I'm leaving you for someone who actually has ambition. Good luck surviving without me. By the way, already filed for divorce. Don't try to find me. For a second, I just stared. My coffee went cold in my hand. My heart was pounding so loud it almost drowned out the office noise around me. 6 years together. 3 years married. And that's how she ended it? With a text? I opened the banking app with shaky fingers. Sure enough, the account balance we'd built up for years was gone. $80,000. My stomach dropped, and then, slowly, I started laughing. Not bitter laughter. The kind that bubbles up when the universe accidentally hands you a plot twist. Because here's the thing, Chloe didn't just drain a joint account. When we moved in together 4 years ago, she'd taken charge of finances. Said she knew all the tricks from working at a bank. I was young, in love, and honestly terrible with money. So when she told me she set up a household account and added me as an authorized user, I didn't question it. I just transferred my half every month like clockwork. But about 8 months ago, after Chloe started calling me financially illiterate one too many times, I finally decided to educate myself. One night, I noticed some weird banking terms on a statement. Stuff like business line and credit facility. Not exactly normal for a checking account. So, I called the bank, played the confused husband card, and got the truth. It wasn't a joint account. It was a business line of credit. In Chloe's name only. She was the sole proprietor. I was just an authorized user. That meant, she was 100% responsible for every cent. I didn't say a word. I just quietly opened my own personal account, built an emergency fund, and waited. So now, seeing that, I'm leaving you, text, knowing she'd just yanked $80,000 from a credit line she'd have to repay herself? Yeah, I couldn't help it, I actually smiled. I texted back, you, too. 73 minutes later, my phone basically turned into a slot machine of chaos. Chloe, what did you do? Chloe, the bank says I owe them money. Chloe, this is your debt too. Chloe, answer your phone. I didn't. Declined every call. Chloe, unknown number. Chloe again. Block, block, block. Then Meredith called, her sister. Unlike Chloe, I actually liked Meredith, so I picked up. Theo, she blurted out, what's happening? Chloe's losing it. She says the bank's after her for some massive debt. I leaned back in my chair, almost amused. Meredith, your sister drained what she thought was our joint account. But it's not. It's a business credit line. In her name. She basically stole $80,000 from herself. Silence on the other end. A long, heavy silence. She borrowed from her own credit line? Meredith finally asked. Yep. And now she owes the bank, not me. I was just an authorized user. My monthly transfers were basically payments she used to make it look neat. But the debt? That's on her. Another pause. Softer this time. Theo, she's with someone else. Some crypto guy named Blake. She's been seeing him for months. I wasn't surprised. I'd suspected something for a while. Figures, I muttered. Then Meredith said something that made me laugh out loud. You need to help her with this debt situation. Why would I do that? Because it's the right thing to do. The right thing? I repeated, my voice sharper now. She stole what she thought was my money. She planned to leave me flat broke and ride off into the sunset with her crypto prince. The only reason she's in this mess is because she didn't even understand her own financial setup. Meredith didn't have an answer to that. So I ended the call. I sat there for a moment, staring at my silent phone. And for the first time in a long time, I actually felt free. But little did I know, this was just the beginning of Chloe's meltdown. If you thought Chloe's first move was petty, buckle up, because the real show started after she realized she'd just sunk herself 80 grand into the hole. First came the legal route. She had some discount lawyer send me a letter demanding I pay half of our marital debt. According to them, since the money was used during the marriage, I was on the hook too. Cute. My lawyer, because yes, I'd already retained one, sent back a response that basically said, nice try. I wasn't a co-signer. I was an authorized user. The account was opened before we even got married. Not my circus. Not my monkeys. Then Chloe switched tactics. If the law wouldn't corner me, maybe guilt would. I got a call from the doorman one night. There's a Robert here to see you. Says it's urgent. Robert. Her dad. I told them, tell him I'm not available. But I could still hear him yelling from the lobby. Something about man-to-man conversations and doing the honorable thing. Dude, I'm eating reheated pasta in my boxers. I'm not walking downstairs to play knight in shining armor for your daughter's bad decisions. Security eventually had to escort him out. But oh, it gets so much better. Remember Blake, the crypto guy? Meredith, bless her chaotic honesty, called me again. And she was practically wheezing from laughter. Turns out Chloe had been spinning Blake this entire fairy tale about her huge upcoming divorce payout. She told him she'd be getting at least 80 grand, plus alimony, plus half my 401k. She'd painted me as some tech exec swimming in cash who just wouldn't share. Blake thought he'd found himself a sugar mama. Then Chloe dropped the bomb about the debt. And Blake? Vanished. Ghosted her so hard I swear he left a cartoon dust cloud. She tried to move into the apartment they were supposed to share, the one she'd already bragged about to people. Except, her name was never on the lease. The landlord wouldn't let her in, and Blake had already told them she was unauthorized. So now Chloe was homeless, $80,000 in debt, and single. Did I feel bad? For about 0.3 seconds. Then I remembered her little, good luck surviving, text and went right back to my cereal. But she wasn't done. Next came the online victim tour. She posted this dramatic monologue on social media, claiming she was trapped in a financially abusive marriage. How I manipulated the banking system to stick her with the debt. She must have forgotten half our mutual friends worked in finance. Jerome, her old coworker from the bank, commented publicly. Chloe, you literally worked in banking. You opened that account yourself. I remember you bragging about the rewards points. Poof. Post deleted. But screenshots? Oh, those live forever. Then she tried something truly pathetic. She reached out to my mom. My mom sent me the screenshots. Chloe had messaged her, Mrs. Davidson, Theo won't help me with this misunderstanding about our finances. As his mother, could you talk sense into him? My mom replied with what can only be described as verbal gold. The same sense you had when you were cheating on my son with that crypto fool? That kind of sense? Delete my number. I love that woman. But the absolute peak entitlement came yesterday. I got a call from the bank, not about my account, about Chloe trying to report my authorized user card as fraud. The bank rep sounded tired. Like, I've seen this movie too many times, tired. Sir, she said, we've reviewed the account history. Every transaction from your card was for regular household expenses, groceries, utilities, the usual. Does she really want us to investigate this as fraud? I asked what would happen if they did. Well, filing a false fraud report is a federal crime, she explained. And since she sent text messages admitting she withdrew $80,000 herself, I had to ask, because at this point it was morbid curiosity, how did she even get away with taking that much in one go? Business credit lines work differently, the rep sighed. It was technically her available credit. But now she owes it back, with interest. How bad? 24.99% APR. I literally choked on my coffee. At that rate, if she only paid minimums, she'd be paying that off until we're all old and gray. And honestly? I couldn't think of a more poetic consequence. The spiral didn't just continue, it went into full-blown freefall. Chloe's lawyer? Gone. Turns out you actually have to pay for legal representation. Who knew? She couldn't afford the retainer after blowing through her stolen $80,000, so she tried to represent herself at our first divorce hearing. She strutted in wearing designer clothes, probably bought with the very money she stole, like she was walking into a fashion shoot, not a courtroom. And then she actually had the nerve to demand alimony because she was accustomed to a certain lifestyle. The judge picked up her financial file, flipped through it like it was a bedtime story, and his eyebrows went up. There it was in black and white. The $80,000 withdrawal. Her own texts admitting to taking the money. Employment records showing she'd quit her job 2 weeks ago. She'd apparently assumed she wouldn't need to work anymore after cleaning me out. Judge, ma'am, you withdrew $80,000 from a credit line, quit your job, and are now asking your ex-husband to support you? Chloe, he tricked me. He knew it was a credit line. Judge, did he force you to open the account? Chloe, no. Judge, did he force you to withdraw the money? Chloe, no. But he should have told me. Judge, you set up the account. You managed it for years. You worked in banking. Ignorance of your own financial instruments is not your ex-husband's responsibility. Zero alimony. And it gets even better. She actually owes me money because the account included marital funds, my monthly contributions over the years. But Chloe doesn't do quiet defeat. Oh no. She goes nuclear. The next phase of her genius plan? She started calling my job. Every single day. She told HR I was a thief. A financial predator. That they were employing someone dangerous. I got pulled into a meeting. My stomach was in knots, but thankfully, my company actually listened. I laid everything out, divorce filings, text messages, screenshots. They believed me. They were sympathetic. But the constant calls were disruptive. And that's when I played my ace. See, in my state, it's legal to record phone calls with one-party consent. And I had a voicemail from Chloe herself saying, I'm going to call your job every day until you pay my debt. I'll make up whatever I need to. They'll fire you eventually. When I played that recording, HR's faces went from concern to pale. Legal got involved instantly. A formal cease and desist went out to Chloe. She violated it, in less than 48 hours. My company pressed harassment charges. But her personal disaster wasn't done snowballing. The bank had started their collection proceedings. She missed her very first payment, because she'd already torched most of the $80,000. Meredith, who at this point had emotionally disowned her sister, told me exactly where the money went. First-class tickets to Costa Rica for her and Blake. A $12,000 designer shopping spree. A $15,000 deposit on a luxury apartment she couldn't afford. $8,000 down on a car she didn't even get approved for. $10,000 in cosmetic procedures. The rest? Straight into Blake's crypto fever dream. When the bank started calling, Chloe tried to negotiate. Claimed financial hardship. They asked for proof of income. She had none. She'd quit her job. So the bank accelerated the debt. Full $80,000 plus interest due immediately. She begged Robert to co-sign a consolidation loan. He refused. Her mom refused. Even Meredith told her flat out, no. Then she bottomed out in a way I honestly didn't think was possible. She launched a crowdfunding campaign. Help a domestic abuse survivor rebuild her life after financial exploitation. She used crying selfies, made up an entire story about me manipulating her into debt through complex financial schemes, and asked for $100,000. 3 days later? $37 raised. Someone even donated $2 with the comment, LOL. Meredith sent me the screenshots of Chloe melting down in their family group chat, screaming at everyone to share the campaign. "You're all so unsupportive," she wrote. Her own aunt replied with brutal honesty. "Chloe, everyone knows what you did. Stop embarrassing yourself." And that's when it hit me. Chloe's house of cards wasn't just collapsing. It was pulverizing itself in real time, and just when I thought the chaos couldn't top itself, the legal hammer came down. Hard. Remember those harassment charges? Chloe thought they were just some empty threat. Turns out, they weren't. She got arrested right at her parents' house. Robert had to bail her out. The judge laid down very clear conditions. No contact with me. No contact with my employer. No more harassment. Simple enough, right? Well, this is Chloe we're talking about. Not even a week later, my company's IT security flagged a bunch of anonymous tips sent from fake email accounts, accusing me of being some kind of criminal. Guess whose IP address they traced it to? Back. To. Jail. And this time, Robert didn't run to fix it. He let her sit for 48 hours. 2 whole days to reflect on her brilliant life choices. Meanwhile, the divorce was finalized. I walked out with the apartment, mine before the marriage. My 401k untouched. My sanity intact. She got her personal belongings. The car she still had payments on. 40% of the marital assets. It would have been 50%, but the judge factored in the $80,000 she stole. She also got to keep the full $95,000 tab she owed between the credit line debt, legal fees, and court costs. The judge actually said her actions were malicious. So what did Chloe do? Oh, this was chef's kiss stupid. She tried to declare bankruptcy, but first she transferred some assets to her parents to protect them. Pro tip, bankruptcy trustees are like bloodhounds. They found out in days. That's called bankruptcy fraud. Federal crime. She panicked and withdrew the bankruptcy petition, but it was too late. Now she was under investigation. Meanwhile, she was still living with Robert and her mom. And according to Meredith, life at Casa Chloe was tense. Chloe fully expected to be treated like a victim. Instead, her parents sat her down and basically said, "You did this to yourself." They made her get a job, pay rent, do chores, attend financial literacy classes. The irony of Chloe, bank employee, self-proclaimed money expert, being forced to sit through budgeting 101 was almost poetic. She lasted 2 weeks before having a meltdown, ranting about how everyone was punishing her for falling in love. Blake hadn't spoken to her since ghosting. But she wasn't done trying to claw her way back into my life. She reached out to my college ex, Amber, on social media. She tried to recruit her to expose me as some evil financial mastermind. Amber immediately sent me screenshots. "Chloe, I dated Theo for 2 years. He's literally the most straightforward guy ever. We broke up because we wanted different things, not because he's some evil genius. Also, girl, you stole 80 grand and got caught. Take the L and move on." I owe Amber dinner for that. But the grand finale? That came last week. I was at a coffee shop, waiting for my latte, when I saw a familiar face trying very hard to pretend I didn't exist. Blake. The crypto prince. We ended up side by side in line. I looked at him and just said, "So, how's the crypto going?" He went red. "Look, man," he muttered, "I didn't know she was married at first." "I don't care," I said. "But I am curious. Did she actually invest in your thing?" He sighed. "Yeah. About 15 grand. I raised an eyebrow. "And?" He grimaced. "The coin crashed. It's worth, maybe 300 now." I laughed. Out loud. In the middle of the coffee shop. People turned to look. In that moment, it all hit me. Chloe burned every bridge she had, torched her finances, lost the fake Prince Charming, and ended up back at square one, all because she tried to destroy me and didn't even know how her own finances worked. Poetic. Absolutely poetic. The ending of Chloe's little saga is about as poetic as it gets. Her debt got sold to collections. Her credit score? Torched beyond recognition. She's going to be dragging that financial corpse around for the next decade, minimum. The harassment charges didn't just vanish either. She pled out, got slapped with 18 months of probation and mandatory anger management classes. She officially has a criminal record now. Her glamorous new life? Well, the retail job she landed lasted all of 6 weeks. She got fired after yelling at a customer who, according to her, looked at her judgmentally. Now, she's working at a call center. Doing collections. I swear, if karma had a sense of humor, this is exactly how it would operate. Then came the last, desperate Hail Mary. She reached out through a mutual friend, asking if we could start over. Said she'd learned her lesson, that Blake meant nothing, that she missed the life we had. My response was short and sweet. Tell her I said good luck surviving. The friend told me later she went absolutely ballistic. Screaming. Blaming me for everything. Claiming I'd set her up. Robert finally had enough. After she tried to steal checks from his checkbook, he kicked her out. No more safety net. She's now living with a cousin who charges her market rent and made her pay first and last month up front. Even family's not cutting her breaks anymore. Meredith and I still talk sometimes. She told me about a recent family dinner where Chloe started ranting again. Said she was the victim of a sophisticated financial conspiracy and that I'd been planning this for years. Her uncle, an accountant, bless his soul, looked at her and said, Chloe, you opened a credit line, forgot it was a credit line, stole from it, and got caught. The only conspiracy here is how you graduated from college. Meanwhile, I'm doing great. Kept my job. Kept my apartment. Kept my retirement savings. And I've started dating Jade, a woman from my climbing gym who, miracle of miracles, knows how bank accounts work. The $80,000 Chloe stole? She didn't steal it from me. She stole it from herself. My contributions over the years were only about $20,000, and those were legitimate payments toward the credit line. She played herself. And she lost. Last I heard through the grapevine. She's buried in debt for the next 15 plus years. Living paycheck to paycheck. Blake is under SEC investigation for his crypto business. Her parents barely talk to her. She's banned from 3 local banks for aggressive behavior. Still posting vague quotes on social media about surviving betrayal. The moral of the story? If you're going to drain what you think is a joint account and send your partner a "good luck surviving" message, maybe, just maybe, make sure you actually understand what kind of account it is. And definitely don't make it a credit line in your name only. Because sometimes, karma doesn't need anyone's help. Sometimes, people like Chloe destroy themselves with their own entitlement. So, good luck surviving, Chloe. You're going to need it for the next 15 years of monthly payments.